Today we're going to Let's Read About George Washington. Written by Kimberly Weinberger and illustrated by Bob Doucet. George Washington was born in Virginia in 1732. At that time, Virginia was one of 13 colonies. The colonies belonged to the country of England. Young George grew up on a farm. He loved to ride horses and catch fish. George had many brothers and sisters. He looked up to his older brother Lawrence. Lawrence was a soldier. He fought for England. George also wanted to be a soldier one day. George did not go to school. He was taught at home. George practiced his handwriting by copying rules of good manners into a book. At age 16, George went to live with Lawrence. Their farm was called Mount Vernon. George rode horses and hunted foxes. He danced at parties and practiced his good manners. He had never been happier. At age 17, George had a very important job. He measured land using special tools. The land of America was still new. People needed to know where the rivers, forests, and mountains were. George did his job very well. He loved the land. George grew into a tall, strong man. In 1753, he became a soldier. At that time, England and France were fighting over America. Both of these countries wanted to own this new land. George fought bravely for England. In the end, England won. Life as a soldier was very hard. George was happy when it was time to go home. But he did not go back alone. In 1759, George married Martha Custis. Martha and her 2 children moved to Mount Vernon. George spent the next 16 years working as a farmer. Then, in 1775, George was called to war again. This time, he would fight against England. The 13 colonies of America wanted to be free. The people asked George Washington to lead them in the war against England. George did not think he was the right man for the job, but he knew he had to try. England was a very strong country. The war went on for many years. George and his soldiers were often cold, tired, and hungry. But they would not give up. With George as their leader, the colonies won their freedom in 1783. They called themselves the United States of America. Americans now had to vote for a person to lead their new country. The choice was easy. George Washington became the first president on April 30th, 1789. George Washington was a peaceful man who loved the land. He had never wanted to be a leader, but he served America both in war and in peace. As our first president, he is known as the father of our country. The end. Bye-bye for now, and happy President's Day.